All right, what's going on? Is Bobby Skinner talking Giants, and the worst has happened for Daniel Jones. Brian Dable confirmed today that Daniel Jones did tear his ACL. We all kind of knew it was happening, but it's now official. He's done for the season, and man, this might be the worst series of events I've seen for a QB before the bye week, and the Giants seem inevitable at this point to draft a QB. Make sure to like and subscribe. I want to talk about all this. So, I mean, this season for DJ suffered his second neck injury, which obviously is very, worrisome. Then you tear the ACL, which will have him questionable for the start of next season. And the ultimate nail in the coffin to me, honestly, is that 2023 will go down as his worst statistical season and film. Like, the worst I've seen Daniel Jones on film after a season was this year. And, you started just in the game yesterday, that when he was playing, he was actually making all the right decisions, but was just missing wildly inaccurate. And then all the stuff that he left on the field in previous games, just like a disaster season for Daniel Jones after signing that contract. When you thought you were primed to see at least some type of step forward or play at the same level, he has really regressed, right? I don't like that word. I feel like we use that word regression loosely. But this is regression. This is the worst film he's ever put up, and now he's dealing with this injury, and it just feels like it's done for Daniel Jones as the Giants' starting quarterback. Andrew Thomas getting injured really tanked this career for Daniel Jones, right? Who I constantly said is the guy who's most important to Daniel Jones' success is Andrew Thomas. So, you get bombarded with pressure from the offensive line this year, that 40-0 game versus the Cowboys, the 49ers, other games. So just bombarded with the pressure, and then just the bad film in every game except for a half versus the Cardinals and versus the Miami Dolphins. And even though you put up good film versus the Dolphins, it was a very bad result offensively. The Giants have the 32nd ranked offense. Obviously, he hasn't been starting all those games, but they're averaging the same amount with him as they were with Tyrod Taylor. And in 2022, man, I want to talk about him, right? In 2022, he did not make mistakes. But teams adjusted on their offense, and he just never took the steps and throws that were there to counter the adjustments to the Giants' offense, right? And again, there was always going to be limits on it because of the offensive line issues. But for it to have I would come away from games in 2022 there's no mistakes on film besides one or two, and they are very little mistakes. They are understandable mistakes, which just really doesn't happen. And he was extremely accurate the entire season, but they obviously low average depth of target, wasn't pushing the ball downfield. But you kind of okay, he's not making mistakes. Can we add something to that? And they tried, and he just did not take the stuff that was on the plate for him there. And then you pair with some wildly inaccurate throws, some slightly inaccurate throws that hampered them in the season. It's just the season from hell for Daniel Jones, and what can really going to derail his career, in my opinion. To me, this is the end of Daniel Jones as a Giants QB. It seems inevitable that they'll be taking a quarterback, right? The Giants right now are currently the fourth in the NFL draft, and I can only see that spot going up. At worst, you stay at 4, right? And with Tyrod, and the big part is that you don't have Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod's out at minimum the next 3 games, the Cowboys, the Commanders, and the Patriots. You need an amazing defensive performance and some wild shit to happen for you to win any of those games. And I can spot maximum 2 wins. Maximum. And again, that is that is me being hey, the NFL's fluky. The Giants can get 2 wins, and that puts you at 4 wins for the season. They have a ceiling of 4 wins. And I think it's realistic to say that they'll probably win one more game because it's the NFL. Probably end up with 3 wins, right? And maybe Tyrod gets back, but again, Tyrod, they were 11 points per game with Tyrod too. So it's not like Tyrod's going to come back and save the day. He's just going to give you a little more of a functioning ability on offense. If you're going to have Tommy DeVito, Matt Barkley's probably a better option than DeVito, but he can't move, right? So teams are going to blitz him, right? So there's negatives to both on that. But when you blitz Tommy DeVito, he can move, but his eyes go down. He just shuts down when you get the blitz or pressure on him. So if you look at the other teams in contention for top picks, the Cardinals are 1-8. Kyler Murray might actually come back for them. They could have a better record than the Giants. The Panthers are 1-7. Now, the Bears have their pick, and then the Bears are also 2-7. Those are the 3 teams ahead of the Giants right now. If Justin Fields comes back, if Bryce Young puts together a couple games, the Giants could be in play for the number 1 pick, right? And they will need the second pick to probably get Caleb Williams or Drake May, even if the Bears aren't going to take a QB or the Cardinals don't take a QB, because those picks will most likely be traded out of. So you're going to need, if you're looking at just Caleb May or Drake May or Caleb Williams or Drake May, which again I haven't done QB evaluation. I'll wait till the season's over so I can really dive into their film and just give you full. Hey, this is my thoughts on the guys. They're not changing. I've watched all the film I've seen. Unless there's something other big, off field that pops up, nothing's going to change. But those seem like the top two consensus, like top 5 worthy picks. You're going to have to trade up if you're not in that top 2, in my opinion. Now, the Giants getting that second from Leonard Williams makes that a little easier, but it just seems inevitable that this organization will be moving on from Daniel Jones, which the contract was always set up to eventually move off of Daniel Jones, but it was not set up to move off of after year 1. Right, like Daniel Jones is a lock on next year's roster because he'll have a $69 million in dead cap and a $47 million cap hit, so they'd be losing $22 million in cap space to cut him. And then with the injury, he's not going to be cut this offseason. Now, after next season, he would be cut, though. You have a $22 million in dead cap, which is a lot considering, but for a quarterback, it's reasonable, and then you create another $20 million in cap space, so DJ will be on the roster next year, whether it's rehabbing or as a backup or bridge or whatever. But it just seems inevitable, man, and I feel for the guy. But his injury luck and the poor play has put the Giants in this situation, and it seems inevitable. Like the rest of the season, I hate to talk about tanking, but when you have Tommy DeVito at quarterback or Matt Barkley at quarterback, that is what's going to happen. So we'll figure it all out. We'll keep shit coming out. I'm going to watch O-line report, Andrew Thomas. Going to be exciting. Appreciate your guys' support. We'll get through this season. We'll get to the Senior Bowl. We'll get to the draft. And let's go Big Blue.